once again, we begin talking about the Kawhi Leonard trade. Friday, we heard from Masai Ujiri, but one of the big questions that remained was, when would we see or hear from Kawhi? Well, shortly after we went off the air, the Raptors tweeted this photo of Kawhi alongside Masai and GM Bobby Webster on the practice court at Scotiabank Arena. And Kawhi even had the slightest of smiles on his face.
Kawhi smile? Do Raptors fans know that Kawhi doesn't smile or doesn't really just emote in any way, shape, or form?
It's okay. They'll soon learn to know.
Right.
We were trying to fill them in on the person that is Kawhi Leonard last week as well, because he's a different breed than any athlete I think we've seen in Toronto, and that you're not going to hear or see much of him interaction-wise when you're maybe used to that, especially juxtaposed to a guy like DeMar, who is as open as any athlete has been, in a couple decades here. Right. But it's not the point.
No, Kawhi is a different dude. Yeah, he is quiet.
You see what I did there with Kawhi in the name? And put it in quiet.
Right.
With a Q, but his name is Kawhi.
Right, with a K.
Thank you for that one.
Right. Understood. He won't say much. And as a great man once told me, can't stop staring at those two hairs out of place in your head.
Shoot, man.
The great man didn't tell me that. It's like just two hairs just sticking straight out.
I can see it, man.
And it's distracting me.
Every time I come on the show, you find something to rip and like.
No, I'm not ripping.
No, it's not rip, but like.
No, it's unfortunate. I'm not ripping.
Yeah.
I'm jealous. I wish I could have two hairs out of place.
You're right.
I wish. The only hairs I have out of place are my nose hairs. But that's about being 40 and getting older.
You're 40?
Can I make my point about Kawhi
you brought the hair thing up, not me. Go.
A great man once told me, real bad boys move in silence. And this is a bad man.
This is a bad man.
The other question was when we would hear from DeMar. And on Saturday, he posted a thank you note to Toronto and to Canada on Instagram.
Yeah, he was obviously very emotional, very much in his feelings, as everybody was last week. And we mentioned we spent a lot of time last week when you were on vacation. So I got to ask, just right off the top, and I have a bunch of questions, and we'll try to get to them a little later on in the show.
Okay.
Do you have any initial thoughts on the deal that you would like to share with both me and the people?
I got a few.
Okay.
I got a couple. No, I'm not. This ain't going to be.
No,
we're going to have a conversation here. No, I'm not going to.
Let's have a conversation.
I'm not going to just go off on a rant. I'm not going to Sixero this. I'm going to have a conversation, and I want it to be with Canada. I want it to be with Toronto. I want to see that. I want to make sure that we point out what a classy move it was for DeMar to go to Instagram.
Yes.
And I mean, I remember interviewing DeMar DeRozan at 19 on draft night. He walks down the hallway, sits down, puts on a headset, and talks to Tim and Sid back then on the Score television network. And every answer was one or two words.
Sure.
Like, he was not forming sentences when we talked to him the first time. And to see the man that kid evolved into was part of the reason, I think, why Toronto fans were so upset with the deal. Because for pure basketball terms, I'm not really sure why. And I was in California. I was on vacation with the family. We were driving up and down the coast. It's wonderful.
We saw your pictures sent in conveniently right before the show started every single day.
Not every single day. One day. I did it one day.
Yeah, Sid did it one day too.
Did Sid do it one day?
You guys are one.
His was Sagres, right? He sent in a little Portuguese beer.
That's it.
But I was, from afar, it seemed to me that despite the fact that Masai Ujiri went out and got a guy who was, when healthy, top 5, maybe top 3 players in the world, that the fan base was upset. One, were they as upset as they appeared from afar?
Yeah.
They were?
Yes. Man, listen, you have no idea. Like, the day the report, and I apologize, we'll get to your second question in a sec, but I think there are two separate things here. One, when the report on Tuesday last week came out saying Toronto may be a front runner, and we spent the entire show talking about it that day. 2 hours we talked about Kawhi, and I kept going, Kawhi. Like, you need to learn this name, Raptors fans, because if he comes, this is the biggest and best player you've had on this team. Well, everyone wasn't really feeling that because they knew going back the other way was going to be DeMar, and the mentions, my God, the mentions of people that felt that this team did DeMar dirty.
Right.
Oh my goodness. And I don't
Well,
really.
DeMar represented that, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Like, yes, he did. But, fans hook on to those things. They hook on to what they see from a player. And so optically, it looked bad on the Raptors as an organization because this loyal guy, and everyone kept preaching loyalty for DeMar, even though Toronto had the most money to give him. The situation he was playing in was better than a lot of other situations he could get himself into. People were saying that they haven't had a star like that, so why are you letting him go? And they were mad, Tim. They were mad and they were sad, including Michael Grange, who was here, including Doug Smith, who was on this show that week. The first things they said was they were sad because DeMar, the person, is no longer here.
Sad and mad are different things.
I feel like people were emotional, and I don't know if they figured out if it was anger or sadness towards the person or anger towards the team, because on paper, the basketball team is better. And I think you want to be better because the on-court product is about winning. And so I, like you, was confused about the sadness and the anger, which I think still is there today.
Well, the second question was going to be...
So yes, to your answer.
The first one was, were they mad? The second one was, why were they mad? But you've already answered why they were mad a little bit.
Yeah.
But I would like to know from them as well, because I think your encapsulation was wonderful.
Thank you.
I think your summarization was wonderful.
Thank you.
I'd like to hear from them as well, because to me it was a little bit puzzling from the outside looking in, because I sat here and I read the tweets. I'm able to pull them up.
Yeah.
I read the tweets after the sweep again in the postseason, saying this isn't good enough. This team isn't good enough. And then someone goes about making the team better, and the fan base says, wait, but not that guy.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
That's it.
And I feel like a lot of fans, and I get it. I do. I know, friends, you've been jilted before. Damon did it to you. Tracy did it to you. Vince did it to you. Christopher Wesson Bosch did it to you. They've left you before. I understand. But to win championships, sometimes you've got to make big boy moves. And I feel like this was a big boy move to win a championship. Now, I know a lot of people understand that the Golden State Warriors are better than everybody else.
They still exist, right?
They still exist.
They still exist.
They still exist.
It's all good.
But in my mind, Raptor fans know that they are a step closer to being better. They're just not sure for how long. Vegas says they're a step closer to being better.
Significantly.
ESPN, you know how much we love our power rankings.
Give me the power
ESPN had the Raptors move up 2 spots in their power rankings.
Laughable the 76ers are above them. By the way, we can talk about that another day, though.
Is it laughable?
I think it's laughable. Yes.
It's laughable?
Laughable.
Did you see the way they ended the season last year?
Yes, out in the second round as well. That's okay.
Right.
It's all good.
In the second round?
Yeah, I'm saying. They don't have Kawhi Leonard on that team, right? They still have children running that team, right?
Yeah,
That's okay.
yeah.
Anyways, I'm just saying.
I don't know if it's laughable. They went to the same spot last year, which is why the Raptors made the changes.
Well, there you go. All come together here.
Okay?
Yeah.
So let me know why you think.
Yeah.
We're going to have some time. I want to figure it out.
Yeah.
I want to go through it with you. I want to see if you need to pull your big boy pants on and figure out exactly what transpired here, because what transpired here is Masai took a risk. And what you want, if you are a Raptors fan, is people to be held accountable. The coach of the year was held accountable.
Right.
And if you thought that it was ending there, you were sorely mistaken. And apparently, a lot of people were sorely mistaken.
All right.
So now Masai is in the level where you can hold him accountable. And I ask you, coincidence or not, doesn't Masai's deal coincide with DeMar's deal? Weren't they lined up? And do you think that was a coincidence when he makes a move?
That's interesting. That's something I'd have to think on a little bit longer.
Let me let you marinate
on that. Let me fix these 2 hairs and try to trigger.
Let the Tim and Citizens marinate on that.
That's interesting.
We'll see if Kawhi Leonard actually smiled in that picture. I think it's a smile.
That's a smile, man.
I think Bobby Webster and Masai Ujiri
they're smiling.
smile
Like, they're smiling.
a little bit bigger.